Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So we are helping you win in any marketplace, and we've got Alex Lima in studio, Black Belt Fitness and Martial Arts, and Black Belt _ Jitsu as well on Instagram. You can find him on Facebook as well. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, my brother. Always good to be here.
Yeah, man. So we go from talking to an attorney where we're talking about financial type stuff. Now we're going back to health and nutrition and self-defense.
Well, it's defense and defense.
That's right.
It's perfect follow-up.
That's right. Isn't it cool?
Legal defense and physical defense.
That's where the Consumer QB show can go anytime, man.
Cover it all.
It's like, I love it because we're a consumer advocate in all these different areas. And so let's start with self-defense. Since we kind of went off, that's an interesting story because you're also a paramedic. You're working in the health field. And, man, what a rough year healthcare workers have had this year.
Oh, it's been it's something out of like a really low-budget science fiction movie.
Yeah.
Really bad, but lots of action and explosions.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man, and then specifically I've been a paramedic now for over 13 years. And specifically where I'm at now, the clientele, quote unquote, is typically behavioral health and drug and alcohol withdrawal. So I get people that are just off the chain sometimes, actually all the time. It's tough, and you have to be a certain type of person and have a certain demeanor in order to be able to do it. And like Jason was stating earlier about having your heart into what you're doing. Yeah. We were talking about in the lobby, having passion for what you do. Yeah, because not just anybody can do those types of jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
or do
important.
them well, rather.
Yeah, and it's a situation, when you look at, firsthand experience. I was in the hospital. I had my chest cut open in a bypass, and a couple of times I was a little frustrated. And I know some of the nurses are overworked and hours and the long thing, but when you're needing pain medication or whatever, it's a tough scenario. It's a tough dynamic that plays out. So. My hat's off to all the healthcare workers out there. And I know it's a tough situation. Right here we had a jet fly over the station. We're like, wait, what is that? And there's some kind of a jet just flew over the Salem media here. So yeah, Alex, an interesting story. You were telling that story earlier about having to subdue someone that came in.
Yeah, not the first time. Many times in obviously in both my martial arts career and my street career as being a first responder on the street and in the hospital setting, I've come into situations where I've had to use control tactics. And especially when I'm doing the martial arts thing as a fighter, my job is to cause damage and hurt the person. The flip side of that, yin and yang, when this person comes to me and they're under my care, it's health care, right? Even though they need to be restrained, I cannot physically hurt them. I don't want to anyway. So you have to go from one aspect of causing damage, and the other one is just restraining while causing minimal to no damage, obviously. So yeah, just it's happened multiple times, but this latest occurrence was without giving away too much details for HIPAA and stuff. Again, I work in behavioral health, so a gentleman came in and was pretty much strung out on meth. And if you've never had to tussle with somebody strung out on meth, you haven't lived. Right? Yeah. So they get crazy strong and they're real aggressive, and it's basically like a surge of adrenaline that just like will not come down. Wow. And anyways, long story short, we tried every tactic that we could initially to get him to calm down on his own. He was initially restrained, handcuffed by the deputies. But those handcuffs have to come off. The deputy can't stay there for 24 hours or 72 hours while this patient is there, So they give him to us, and we had to, after exhausting everything else, we did the appropriate care and chemically restrained him, using pharmaceuticals, the appropriate ones. And then, being, addicts and people with their blood boiling and the adrenaline going, that stuff, they burn through that. So those chemicals eventually wear off. Right. And then they get to the point where they want to attack. So, fast forward to where the drugs wore off. I had to, it was just me and him and like this one other female, and I had to control him. I had to control him using control tactics, but I utilized just a blanket in order to just basically hogtied him in a blanket and held him down. Whereas in like an MMA situation or life or death situation, I could strike. I can, basically cave a guy's face in if I had to. In that scenario.
Yeah. So it's an honorable thing that you're doing then, working to to keep the person, in a non-harmed situation in the state so he can receive his medical attention. Let's switch gears. Let's talk a little bit about exercise and diet. I think a lot of folks out there are saying, hey, this COVID thing, I was in the house, used to be more active, I'm not getting out as much. What are some ideas? What are some tips, maybe some tricks about, getting in a diet regimen, an exercise regimen that actually works?
Yeah, so we could, can always go over basic protocols, but a lot of these basic rules people already know. They just choose not to follow them. Don't eat too many sweets, not too many fried foods. We know pretty much wrong and right, what foods are good, what foods are, quote unquote bad.
Yep.
But now, depending on your goal, you got to fine tune those things. And every single diet, there is no catch-all diet. I hate when people just try to sell a diet, like I don't want to name brand diets or whatever, but this special low carb diet and this high fat diet and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Needs and dietary needs are based upon the individual's goals.
Mm-hmm.
A football player has different dietary needs than a golfer. A golfer and a football player and a soccer player have, martial artist. Everybody has different dietary needs. The woman that's trying to lose weight for her wedding is going to train differently than the Olympic sprinter.
Yep.
So there are some basic protocols, but in the end, you have to get with a trainer or somebody that has more knowledge when it comes to diet and nutrition to fine tune specifically for what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
But basically, watch your caloric intake. That part is simple. To break it down as simple as I possibly can.
Yeah.
In order to gain weight, you have to take in more calories than you burn.
Yep.
If you want to lose weight, you have to burn more calories than you take in. You have to be in a deficit.
Yeah.
That's just basic calories, right? So let's say a 2,000 calorie diet. In reality, 2,000 calories is 2,000 calories. You could eat just spoonfuls of sugar all day to get 2,000 calories. And as long as that's under your caloric intake regimen, you're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
Now, it's not healthy for your body. I'm not saying to do that.
Yeah.
But your macronutrients and your micronutrients, your fats, your proteins, your carbohydrates, your vitamin intake, that's going to make a difference on your body's composition and the way that you look. So one of them is going to make you lose and gain weight.
Yeah.
The other one is going to fine tune you to whether you're going to be lean like an athlete or if you're going to be, just have excess body fat on you.
And that's why you see a lot of times too, those bodybuilders, they'll be waking up in the middle of the night, taking an extra, big heavy protein shake or something along those lines, getting those extra calories, cutting out the catabolic system.
That's even taking it a level above, because now after you fine tune your macronutrients and your micronutrients, we know what we need. Now we need to pinpoint what time of day you need that, to keep that going. They have to, bodybuilders have to be constantly in an anabolic state building. So that guy's got to wake up at 3 a.m. and have a shake and have some cottage cheese or something like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's going to start to lose those gains that he's working so hard to get.
Taking in that protein. We're talking with Alex Lima here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Black Belt Fitness and martial arts. Martial arts is a fun thing to do as well. It's an educational thing. It's a self-defense. You can protect yourself as well. Talk a little bit about martial arts.
Well, and then the mental benefits, it's a stress reliever. A lot of my guys, when we get together, we call it mat therapy. And I promise you it's cheaper than going to like a psych doctor every week or whatever.
There you go.
And then also like the benefits of increasing your ability to focus and concentrate. It helps with ADHD. It helps with depression. It helps with, everything.
Great for kids.
Oh, kids, adults, anybody. There's really not a single person that martial arts would not benefit.
Yeah.
But kids specifically, they're being molded. They're being programmed. They're going to be turning into the person that they're going to be for the rest of their life. The earlier you can get them in to start working on discipline, focus, healthy habits, they're going to carry those lessons with them their entire life.
Yeah.
And especially if you live in a household where it's not like a big deal, like maybe your mom and dad or whatever weren't so fit or into it, you could truly benefit your child by putting them with someone, a coach, a mentor that is that way. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to start picking up those little traits and habits that's going to carry on for the rest of their life.
That's right. I mean, it's habits. I remember it was something where I read, habits are thousands times more likely than just wanting to do something. I forgot the study that I saw, but, it makes sense. When you have these habits, the body, human beings are naturally habitual. We have so many different habits that we probably don't even realize that we do, but we do. Whether it's how we do a certain activity a certain way every time, or even our language patterns, things that we say a certain way a certain time. But the habit side, I think, is a big key. And if you can take and replace something that's a negative habit with something positive, even if it's a small, and you start compounding that, you get in that compound effect.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny that you bring that up, because I was actually reading a study on habits, and I realize how important they are. But, the majority of your habits come from your subconscious. Mm-hmm. So it's what you pick up from your genetics and what you pick up from your environment and the things that you intake, the books you read, the music you listen to, the things that you study and put your eye on.
That's right.
That's where your focus is. Those are going to mold you and become your habits.
Yeah. It's amazing because that's when you get into like hypnosis and how you can program people, and Tony Robbins with his incantations and saying positive things, putting yourself in a positive state. And by the way, yesterday's show we talked about the gentleman. He went across the Atlantic Ocean. He rode across the Atlantic Ocean. It was something like 3,000 miles or something crazy. And just amazing. But the human body, that's my point, is that the human body can really accomplish some amazing feats as long as we prep it, we plan it, and we execute it.
Well, and you have the discipline to put yourself through that too. Discipline is discipline equals freedom. We know that, right?
Yeah.
You have to. That's the number one trait that I think needs to be developed in all people. Because if you have discipline, there's essentially nothing that you can't master or accomplish.
Yeah. Talk about your location, your classes. What you're looking for, help folks to come out.
Yeah, so we're near the Citrus Park, mall area. Right now, my group classes for the most part are full. I have maybe 3 or 4 spots left for my day and evening classes when it comes to groups, but I do have private training and personal lessons still available.
Nice.
So you can reach out to me, 813-426-1588, or look me up, BlackBelt Jones, BlackBelt _ Jitsu. You can find me. I have a YouTube channel with lots of great free content, and I'm going to start cranking out the content there as well.
Very good. Yeah, and we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, I want to dive a little into some of the UFC talk we were talking about earlier. So some interesting stuff. Why don't you tee it up, tease this for us?
Yeah, just great things. A lot of behind-the-scenes things when it comes to mixed martial arts and the business aspect that people don't understand.
Yeah, with
and
Dana White.
and
getting in a kind of a little tussle.
Little tiffs with reporters and people he doesn't play so well with.
Yeah, let's dive into that when we come back. And also our feel-good story of the day. Find out about this business owner in Hawaii who met the man that stole from him, and then he hired him. So pretty cool story right here. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a member of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please give me a call for any of your mortgage needs. We do all sorts of loans. If you would like information on a mortgage, you can text me or call me at 727-647-8199. I will take care of all your mortgage needs. Go to my website at dianevance.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. We are in a low inventory market, so any of our listeners are homeowners and would like a free comparable market analysis or a 2.5% listing, we will honor this for the first 3 listeners who call or text in 813-773-1253. Free CMA and a 2.5% real estate listing at 813-773-1253. Check out consumerqb.com. Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We help you win in your real estate deals, buying, selling, or investing. We also serve as a consumer advocate. We're going to connect you with 80 different categories of expert advice right here in Tampa Bay. Attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, all types of great home services available, as well as personal training, martial arts, as we're talking with Alex Lima here today, Black Belt Fitness, Black Belt Jones here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And every day we tell you something positive in our feel-good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, so we've got owner of a construction company in Hawaii has hired the man who stole thousands of dollars worth of tools from him. Surveillance video captured 33-year-old Travis Yoshi stealing from a construction site, and it wasn't the first time. He hit the same spot twice last month and got away with an estimated $10,000 worth of tools. Paul Cassidy's owner of TSW Fabrication said he was livid about the theft. He says, quote, "We work hard for our stuff. It's a family business," Cassidy said. And it was like we're going to have to find this guy, but what happened next changed everything. 3 days after the break-in, Yoshi returned to the scene of the crime. His conscience got the best of him. He says, "I'll do whatever it takes to work it off," to the boss. It's pretty cool. I mean, that's a neat character's trait to be able to come back and do that and own up to what you did. Somewhere in that conversation, the moment changed. It was looking at him, and it was like, "No, I don't want you to work it off. I'm going to hire you." That was nearly 2 weeks ago. Despite being homeless and without a car, he's managed to show up every morning at 7 a.m., responsible for keeping the site clean and organized. Kati said he hopes Yoshi can eventually pick up steel working as a trade, and we really want him to grow with us and find a place for him to lay his head at night. Feel good story of the day from the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, we're back here in studio. Coming up, we got Julian Barbone as well, Children's Cancer Center. But I wanted to go back to Alex. So, Alex, when you talk about UFC, man, what is their market cap? I wonder, like, how much money is the UFC responsible for now? I mean, what a big company, right? It's a multi-million-dollar company. Big time payouts, for some of the fights. The fighters actually don't make as much. Some people say, well, the fighters maybe should be paid more. Dana's keeping too much money at the top. But talk about that little thing happening with the ESPN reporter and some of that stuff, what you've seen from the MMA side.
Sure was. ESPN and UFC have the deal, but how do they have that deal? It's because they were purchased by Disney. Anything that's owned by Disney is making money. They don't put money into anything that's not going to make great returns.
Yeah.
UFC is the biggest brand because they're just so professional. When like the amateur shows and things like that, there's a lot of things of like people. The UFC may be underpaying some of their fighters that aren't stars yet, but there are some promotions that just straight scam and don't even pay the fighters after fighting. Don't pay for the medical bills, nothing. It's pretty bad. The amateur scene is that's a story for another day.
That's crazy.
Pretty insane.
I've seen some of that.
But yeah, and then as far as like stuff with the reporters and that, it's just the UFC is they're the biggest show in town. They're the biggest brand, most well known, so they can essentially call the shots whenever they want things. So if they don't like something that a reporter said, even if it was an ESPN announcer or sportscaster or whatever, they'll get them cut. They'll blacklist them, and they won't even be able to buy a hot dog in the venue where the fights are taking place.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. You look at that. We've had Ken Shamrock on the show over the years and some interesting stuff. Who's the best name in MMA right now? Top 2 or 3 names.
Fighters?
Yeah.
Fighter-wise? Yeah. Oh, man. Well, as far as the UFC, the big one coming up in March 6th, the fight is going to be Israel Adesanya. Mm-hmm. And he's pretty much well known as like being one of the most creative and best strikers in the game right now. He actually fought Anderson Silva, which he was a big fan of. He grew up watching Anderson Silva, so he fought his idol and beat him.
Wow.
And there's a very actually emotional video afterwards of the interview where they're hugging each other. He's actually crying because he beat Anderson, because he beat his idol.
Yeah, because he was pretty creative his own right.
He was the man. Anderson was the man.
Yeah.
And he told him, he goes, I passed the torch to you. He goes, you're the man now.
Wow.
He told him like that for your idol, you know what I'm saying? To say
cool
that to you, like that's huge, man. That's
how cool
huge,
is that? I wonder if any of the quarterbacks told Tom Brady that.
Oh man, somebody it's just any sport where your idol tells you, hey, you're the man now.
Yeah.
That's just like that's the ultimate accomplishment.
That's pretty cool.
You've reached the pinnacle.
That's very cool. I mean, Tiger Woods saying that to somebody younger at some point. I mean, how cool would that be? But cool, man. People want to check you out. They can look for diet, nutrition, exercise. I know you're doing some stuff online now as well. And if they say, hey, I got still a little nervous about COVID, but I'd like some personal training, you can do it over the internet now. A lot of cool things. Close us out with your final thought here.
Yeah, I mean, with me, you can train online. We can train at a distance even when we're with each other, or we can be, close and do some hands-on stuff. But all precautions are followed. I use hospital-grade disinfectant on everything, all my equipment. We do temperature checks. We use hand sanitizer. All equipment must be clean and sterile before we touch it and use it. So it's a very safe training environment.
Cool. And where do we find you at?
You can call me 813-426-1588, or you can look me up online, BlackBelt Fitness and Martial Arts Club.
Very cool. All right, good stuff. Thanks for coming in.
Anytime, bro.
All right, let's go to the phones. We got Julian Barbone on the line, Children's Cancer Center. Hey, Julian.
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Hey, doing well. Thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So we like to take some parts of our show here and just kind of help out the community. And Children's Cancer Center really is one of the organizations doing a lot of good, if not the most good. I love what you're doing. I love the philosophy and the mission statement of Children's Cancer Center. You got any events coming up, my friend?
We do. We're still promoting Ride, Restore, Refresh, and everyone can check that out on our website, restorerefresh.com. Promoting that on March 7th. Day. We have 4 different heats. 25 people get to come in and do 30 minutes of yoga and 30 minutes of food and drinks. And so we put that event together as a socially distanced, COVID-compliant event last June. And it was so successful. We had 2 heats. So we had 50 people. We raised $50,000.
Nice.
And so this year, our goal is 100 people raising $100,000 for the kids and families of the center. And it's all outside. It's a feel-good workout, and we have great food and drinks afterward. And it's a peer-to-peer fundraising page. So you kind of sign up, and you ask your friends and family to help support you, and then you get to help our kids and families. All right.
Very good. Yeah, your phone was going in a little bit in and out, but I think it's riderestorerefresh.com.
That's correct.
The website, riderestorerefresh.com, if people want to get involved. Pretty cool. You go right to their location on Cypress, and then they set up these bikes. Of course, it's all COVID compliant, and you have like a certain amount of riders at a time. And what's the date on that? I think it was March 7th, if I heard them right, March 7th. So the phone's going in and out. Julian Barbone, Children's Cancer Center. They've had some really awesome events in the past. I was involved with some of the events in the past. I was the MC for the Wine, Women, and Shoes event. That was a really cool event. 400 to 500, women in Wine, Women, and Shoes event as well. And that was a neat place. Raised a lot of money. They do a lot of good. But now COVID, of course, is affecting the economy in a lot of different ways. It's affecting nonprofits and, of course, Children's Cancer Center here as in an adverse way as well, because a lot of their events were in-person events. And when you look at the challenges that COVID has affected, not only businesses, nonprofits are being hurt, their budgets are being hit. So we're going to try to get Julian back on the phone. Ride, Restore, Refresh is their next event coming up. I believe he said March 7th, and we had the website pulled up for those online as well, looking at that. But yes, Sunday, March 7th, 2021, there's first heat is 9 a.m. in the morning. Got a second heat and a third heat. So they're looking to try to raise $100,000 this year. Julian, give us some more details on this Ride, Restore, Refresh.
Yes, I'm sorry. I hope everyone can hear me. But it is, like I said on the website, 30 minutes of spin, 30 minutes of yoga, and food and drinks afterwards. If you're looking for something to give back and to be outside and exercise in a COVID-compliant event, this is definitely why we put this event together. And we partner with Union 3, which is a local studio in downtown Tampa that does spin and yoga. And so they'll be instructing all day there in our 4 different heats. And we're just looking forward to getting the community back together. And, COVID has certainly done a lot to the community, but unfortunately has not stopped cancer. So we have to keep these events going and be able to raise funds for our kids and families.
Yeah, it's so important. The cancer's still out there thriving, and Children's Cancer Center does such a great job. We'd love for you to support their Ride, Restore, Refresh event coming up March 7th. 30 minutes of spin, 30 minutes of yoga. That's going to be a nice little workout for you. Get the blood flowing, the body, in shape, and do some yoga as well. Get some stretching in there. You'll leave there feeling good, not only physically, but you'll leave feeling good knowing you raised a lot of money for Children's Cancer Center. Julian, thanks so much. We appreciate you joining us, my friend.
Always. Thank you for having us on. I appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. All right, Children's Cancer Center, support your local charities right here in Tampa Bay, nonprofit organizations. And, of course, we'd love for you to support our show, consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors on our website at consumerqb.com. And we always say we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community, and continue to support the show. Find us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter. Consumer Quarterback Show, of course, the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We've got our Facebook page out there. And our YouTube channel has over 1,000 videos of great content, just like you heard today. Brandon Rhymes Real Estate is the YouTube channel. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.